to welcome all of you and thank you all of you for coming out to this event. My name is Jason Martin. I am the Dean here at the Evans Library. And this is a special year for the library as it marks our 40th anniversary. This is the third library on campus, and this building is 40 years old this year. And so this contest was actually part of our celebration. So what we asked students to do was, for 40 years we've been here, we want you to think about what space exploration holds in the next 40 years. It was really a pleasure reviewing all of these great contributions and these submissions. If you haven't had a chance, I encourage you to take the time to look those over and to review them. It was a lot of fun. I want to thank the Astronauts Memorial Foundation for sponsoring this event and providing the winning prize of passes and tickets to the actual Astronaut Memorial Foundation, as well as the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. And for that, we have some special guests. So Colleen Middlebrooks, who's the Vice President of Development and one of our contest judges, so thank you. We have Bob Cabana, who's a retired astronaut and a contest judge, and you'll learn more about him in a minute. And we also have two guests from NASA. We have Louie and Lakin, so thank them for doing community outreach and education for NASA. And Thad Altman, who is the president and CEO of the Astronaut Memorial Foundation, was scheduled to be here, but he sort of got called away at the last minute. He's very important. So. Without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce the sixth president of Florida Tech, Dr. John Nicola.
Thank you so much, Jason, and please allow me to join you in welcoming everyone to this unique and very exciting ceremony. As Jason mentioned, we have a distinguished lineup of speakers for you and I think a captivating presentation from our winners, so I'll keep things moving. I'm really excited about how these contest entries, which range from, as you saw, essays to podcasts to speculative fiction, portray science, exploration, and travel into the future. I'm excited because those submissions are in part a product of informed speculation, maybe even daydreaming about what could be, what might be. At least I hope they are. William Blake wrote, "What is now proved was once only imagined." And a century later, Albert Einstein famously said that imagination was more important than knowledge. It was impressive to see what these students have imagined across these contest submissions. Yes, their education is about facts and figures, some memorization, commitment, rules, strictures, and so much more, but it's also about unleashing our students' minds, sending them not always into the rigid boundaries of an equation sometimes, but sometimes into the freeing space of open thought, speculation, again, of what could be. Some would scoff at daydreaming, but I think it can be a powerful tool. Psychologists tell us it may spur creativity, problem solving, and even goal setting. Am I suggesting that we spend all day with our head in the clouds? I hope not. I don't take it that way. I don't think, of course not. But like so many processes, unfettered thinking can be one part of a broader whole, and it may yield amazing things. H.G. Wells, I feel I'm in the library, so I feel I need to quote a few things. H.G. Wells, the English writer working in the late 1890s, was an early pioneer of science fiction writing. The Martian invasion he envisioned in the War of the Worlds would go on to fuel the imagination of a young Robert Goddard, who about 30 years later built and launched the first liquid-fueled rocket. Care to head in the other direction? The centerpiece of Jules Verne's visionary 1870 book, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, featured a sophisticated submarine. Anybody remember the name? The Nautilus. This thrilled the American Simon Lake, who in then 1898 launched the first submarine to operate successfully in the open ocean. Lake is now considered the father of modern submarines. And finally, in The Clipper of the Clouds, a Jules Verne book that centered on a flying ship with a massive propeller on the prow, inspired a Russian child named Igor Sikorsky. His name is now synonymous with his invention, the modern helicopter. So that we're talking about the power of imagination and information at a place where they are the primary forces. The library is, again, fitting. As you know, the Event Horizon contestants utilized Evans Library and its resources to prepare their entries. I'm so proud of our library. The variety of ways that our students were able to engage here is somewhat telling. Again, from podcasts to writing and so much more. From traditional information gathering through the stacks, though much is now digitized, to utilizing databases of journals and high-tech equipment, use of the Digital Scholarship Lab. It's just really amazing how they've utilized the many resources we have here. Over its 40 years, Evans Library has been integral to the campus because it has adapted and updated what is on the inside while maintaining its essential role as campus community hub, educational resource, a venue for cultural enrichment, and so much more. If you're here at any given time of the day, it could be any one of those things and more. I mentioned Albert Einstein in a different context earlier. An avid reader, he said this about knowledge. Quote, "The only thing that you absolutely have to know is the location of the library." End quote. I couldn't have said it better myself. Fitting words to end on. So again, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, Jason. Thank you to the Astronaut Memorial Foundation. And I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you very much. You had me at William Blake. So our next speaker originally is from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And Bob Cabana graduated from the United States Naval Academy in 1971, after which he attended the basic school at Marine Corps Base Quantico and completed Naval Flight Officer training. A few years later, he graduated from the United States Navy Test Pilot School and has logged over 8,000 hours in 50 different kinds of aircraft. In 1985, he was selected as an astronaut candidate and completed astronaut training the following year. He was a member of 4 space shuttle missions, STS-41 Discovery in 1990, STS-53 Discovery in 1992, STS-65 Columbia in 1994, and STS-88 Endeavour in 1998, and has logged over 910 hours in space. He retired from the Marine Corps in 2000 with the rank of colonel, and since then has served in a variety of roles, including director of the John F. Kennedy Space Center and the associate administrator of NASA. He is a distinguished graduate of the United States Naval Academy and a member of the Astronaut Hall of Fame, and can also quote Shakespeare. So he was kind enough to serve as a judge for this contest, and it's my pleasure to introduce Bob Cabana.
Jason, it's bad when the introduction is longer than the talk.
Well,
Hey,
don't do so much.
I just want to thank everybody for being here today, and I would say what a pleasure it is to participate in the 40th anniversary of the Evans Library in this partnership between the Astronaut Memorial Foundation and the Florida Institute of Technology. It's a great partnership. You know, libraries open the world to us. As a young boy growing up in Minneapolis, the library became my home. Minneapolis had an awesome public library with branches all over the city. And I read all the books I could about the pilots and test pilots of World War II in Korea, and the test pilots in the 50s and 60s flying jets. And my goal was to be a naval aviator and take off and land on aircraft carriers. I never dreamed I could be an astronaut. I held those guys in such high esteem. But it's amazing, you know, when you take intermediate steps, what they lead to. Becoming a pilot allowed me to become a test pilot, use all that math and engineering I had in school, along with flying. And that's what qualified me to be an astronaut. But I'll tell you, I didn't get any of those on the first try. I didn't get into flight training, test pilot school, or the astronaut program on the first try, but I was persistent and didn't give up. So I challenge all of you who are students, you know, set a goal for yourself. And if you don't get it on the first try, man, try again. You can do anything. Now, I really enjoyed being a judge for all the entries. I love reading, listening, looking. You know, it's pretty amazing. And I truly believe, as the president said, you know, if you can imagine it, we can make it happen. Imagination is the future. And right now, the future of space, especially here on the Space Coast, it is absolutely amazing when you look at all that we're doing. Commercial space is opening the universe to us, essentially. You know, when I look at where are we going, I turn to science fiction. How many of you guys like science fiction? How many have watched or read The Expanse on Netflix, 5 seasons. You know, you got people living on Earth, living on the moon, living on Mars, and living out in the asteroid belt. They don't tell you how they got that propulsion that allows them to go really quick places, but you know, that is the future. We need that, so you guys got to imagine it and make it happen. It's already been imagined, let's make it happen. But that's our future. We are going to live beyond our home planet. When I got selected to be an astronaut, I worked for John Young. I mean, oh my gosh, my hero is my boss. Just around the corner is his office, right? Flew the first Gemini mission with Gus Grissom, flew twice on Gemini, twice on Apollo, walked on the moon, flew the first shuttle mission in April 12, 1981, the gutsiest test flight ever, and then flew it again on the first Spacelab mission. And John always said, single planet species will not survive, all right? Someday there's going to be an event that took, like the one that took out the dinosaurs when that big asteroid hit down in the Yucatan, right? Well, we need to be prepared for something like that. Maybe we'll be able to deflect it. Who knows? We got a lot of work to do. But it's our destiny to explore and go beyond our home planet. And to do that, we need bright young minds working hard, doing their very best, and imagining that future and making it happen. So thank you so much for letting me be a part of this today, and I wish you all the very best.
All right, so one of the things that I love about doing a student contest like this is that you get to see the different sides of students. Often we see the sort of studious side, the academic side of students, but they're people too, and they have all of these different sides to them, and a lot of that is creativity. And I've always been amazed at the creativity that students have from music to art, to skateboarding, to building new cars, to doing whatever it is. They have some great minds and some great creativity, and so I love seeing what these students create, and I love these kinds of contests to be able to see that. And we had a lot of great entries, and I want to talk to first introduce our 2 honorable mentions. So the first honorable mention goes to Cosmo Kalina, who wrote an essay on overcoming language and cultural differences when encountering life forms, other life forms other than humans. And I thought it was really great and thoughtful, well-researched, and something that I never would have thought of, and how do we bridge these cultural and language gaps. Is Cosmo here? No? Okay, all right. And then Ese Oguma made a great video podcast using music and illustrations on space tourism and the colonization of Mars. And so I know SA is here, so if you give him a round of applause. Really great.
Also on the track team.
I don't know what he wants to do for his future. He has a great future as a broadcaster. And so now for our winner. Our winner is Robert Gadomski for his podcast titled Spacecast. So Robert is a business administration major, and he was joined by his friend, an engineering major. And they both provided some unique perspectives on space and exploration. And I also understand he's a lacrosse player as well. So you know those guys are tough as nails too. So here to tell you more about his podcast and his ideas is Robert.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you. First off, I just want to say I'm honored to have been selected as the winner of this event. And I want to give a huge shout out to the Evans Library staff and also my professor, Professor Muth, for giving me this opportunity to participate in this event. If it weren't for him, I might not have been able to take advantage of this opportunity. And as for the event, I decided to use the podcast room to create an audio recording with, as you said, my friends, to talk about the topics related to the next 40 years in space. We covered things such as technology and how we think it will change, what we think might be some more efficient ways of exploring space and using our resources more efficiently. We talked about extraterrestrial life, and we all shared our thoughts and opinions on what we think is out there, and if we believe that there is intelligent life out there beyond our solar system. We also went over planetary colonization and terraforming. And we discussed the idea of terraforming planets to be transformed into habitable environments for humans to live, as Bob talked about. It's like he said, it's our destiny to move beyond this planet and to colonize and live among the stars. Then we also talked about space tourism with companies like SpaceX, having goals of making space travel more efficient and accessible for average people. This was an incredible opportunity for me because I just recently transferred here, and being able to use the resources that the Evans Library offers was an incredible opportunity. Being able to use that podcast room, I probably never would have thought about using it until Mr. Muth decided to assign us an assignment. And I'm glad I could take advantage of it and be up here and present to you all. So, thank you.
So we have trophy here that was 3D printed here in the DSO for you, as well as a nice engraved mug that I'm sure he'll put water in. I also have the certificates and all that I'll give you too afterwards. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, well, thank you all. That sort of concludes our sort of formal part of the ceremony, but please help yourself to some refreshments, coffee and cookies and whatnot. And please, if you haven't, please check out the submissions over there. They're really great and interesting. So thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it. And thank you for helping us to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the Evans Library. And one quick plug, next Wednesday at 6:30, we're going to have a really interesting panel discussion on the use of algorithms and how algorithms affect our lives and how they really kind of control, I didn't say they control what we think, but they greatly influence what we do and what we buy and everything else. So it's going to be really interesting from various different kinds of perspectives looking at this. So I hope you can join us next Wednesday at 6:30. So thank you. Appreciate it.